Zachary, I'd like to interrupt you a bit so that we can bring in opposition leader Musalia Mudavadi, the leader of the ANC. Good morning, Mheshimiwa.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mheshimiwa.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us again in the Situation Room.
Right.
We've been discussing the issue of education, clarity on what happens next, what happens now that we have COVID-19, schools were ordered closed, students sent home. Now, opening of for a new term has been pushed by another 30 days. The issue of exams keep cropping up. Yesterday, you addressed a media conference on this and you raised a couple of issues.
Yes.
Maybe you could quickly just give us a summary of what issues that you were raising yesterday.
Fine. First of all, I was pointing out that the Ministry of Education needs to come out with more clarity because we've been getting tidbits of messages from them, and they're not definitive enough. Some are speculative that the exams may be on or may not be. This is not the kind of communication you have here. Secondly, it's clear that there's going to be a lot of problems in covering the syllabus, and the exam system here is based on syllabuses. So going by where we are now, there has been major interruption. And when you talk to a lot of professionals, they don't see how they're likely to cover the lost time. And this is something that needs to bring the stakeholders together. So my view is that the Ministry of Education should be more proactive and more transparent to the Kenyan people, so that we can know that there's serious consultation taking place with the teachers, the parents' associations,
and the school heads,
the school heads, the Kenya Examination Council, so that we can see what we would say a consultative and well thought out process on the way out of it. But it seems that not coming out clearly.
Right. I mean, it's clear, Mheshimiwa, that it's not coming out clearly from them. In this case, what we've been told is that they actually don't know. Are we looking for them to come out and say no exams this year? Are we looking for them to say that regardless of what we see, there will be exams in December 2020? Do we want them to make a statement on something that they don't have much information for at the moment?
I think on a matter like this, confidence comes through when people see that there's a measure of consultation and that a common solution is being found. Because ordinarily the exams are in November. So are they going to be pushed into December? As an example. If the schools resume in June, what does that do to the calendar of the school? Do they then forego the holidays in August? Then they study during the August period, which is another 3-week period. But from where we sit, if you observe the calendar, they have seemed to have lost 7 weeks. So these are issues that the experts should sit together. This cannot be decisions made in isolation. They must have a consultative process, and they're experts in education. Does it mean that you alter the calendar of the school, maybe for it to start in September? And therefore they'll have lost a few months, but at least they have not lost the entire year. So these are clarity issues that need to come out because they affect transition.
And also they build confidence on the people.
And they build confidence, yes. And even the students are owed something here. Because there are 1.2 million Standard 8 children.
Mheshimiwa, I'm not going to ask you...
700,000 secondary school candidates.
I'm not going to ask you what you would do if you were the Minister for Education. You're above that. If you are the President, you're the head of this country, and you have this issue ongoing today, what would you want to see done so that you can answer all these questions that you're raising?
I think what is clear is that there's some element that seems to show that everything is revolving around the Ministry of Health. And to some certain extent, yes, a lot of issues depend on them. But serious consultation amongst themselves is important because, for instance, if I give the example of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, until Kenyans smoked them out, they were not being proactive in explaining or even showing any empathy with Kenyans who are facing difficulties outside. They had to be smoked out. Now, we would like the Ministry of Education, for instance, if you reopen in June and the school is hit by the COVID, what kind of preparations have been made to be able to mitigate that? Would it mean that if Lenana opened in June, and it has been, I think, one of the quarantine centers, and COVID hits that school, do you close it? And then what happens to the fate of those children who are supposed to take exams in Lenana? Would they be transferred to another examination center?
So, just if, as we conclude the conversation, if you were to give me 3 things that you think need to be done specifically, and this is just now being very, very prescriptive to Professor George Magoha, what 3 things would you like to see done so that all these questions, all this uncertainty is cleared?
I think what is clear and the most important thing, and that will perhaps deal with the other issues, I can only have one message. Get the stakeholders, the primary or key stakeholders, to dialogue on this issue.
If I were to ask this yes or no question, do you think within the country we have adequate resources to actually find solutions to all these problems we are raising?
No country has sufficient resources to deal with a crisis like this. So it is a question of putting great minds together in various professional segments, and then getting them to think through and help the Kenyans navigate through this crisis to the best of their ability. Because it is, we may have had some possible good news that perhaps there's a drug that can now slow down the coronavirus issues. But you notice that the medicine man, the experts were saying that it's not yet a vaccine. So we have to anticipate that we may be with the coronavirus a little longer. And this is now when I would be appealing for our best brain to engage in serious consultative measures so that we are not working in silos.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi, the leader of ANC party, for speaking to us. You know, as we come to the conclusion of the show, CT Muga always has a day's proverb. So listen to today's proverb.
Okay.
If your only tool is a hammer, you will always see every problem as a nail.
Yes. I get you.
How would you put that in context, Mheshimiwa?
Well, I think what he's saying is that let's think out of the box.
Yes.
Let's not look at it as simply a nail and hammer solution.
Right.
Indeed.
There are other solutions.
Very well put. Very well put.
We are happy to have tickled your funny bone, Mheshimiwa.
Asante sana.
Have a good day.
Thanks very much, Mheshimiwa.
Okay. Asante.